Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to hopefully a wonderful evening for yourself. It is for me. Just took the baby on a walk and now we are here listening to some music. What are we checking out? We're checking out the band No Means No. We're going to listen to this track, Rags and Bones. This is off of their fourth album, Wrong, which was released in 1989. We're listening to this track because it was recommended and sponsored by Adam. So Adam, thank you so much for the suggestion and for the support. Really appreciate that. And the band had also been mentioned several times in my comment sections for a while by the likes of Eric Brocious, Kame Kama, Similimum, SJFVET, Liquid Zool, King Leper, Shakar, Pierre Charlotte, Brad Murray, Linus Photograph, and the list goes on and on from there. Matt Steiger, thank you so much as well for their suggestion of the band. Now, just to break the fourth wall a little bit, you guys want a little bit of a fourth wall break? Let me pull you up here somewhere. This is my wish list in which I add a lot of albums and such. Let's see. You'll see. And probably this way, huh? You know what? Let me just. What am I doing? Just do it this way. The point I'm trying to make. There's the point I'm trying to make. I have the album on my wish list because it's an album that had been suggested many times, and so I put it on my wish list as an album to get to eventually. That was what I was trying to get the point across. But let me not spend all the rest of this intro clicking through pages trying to find it. Let's go ahead and listen to the track. I've already delayed enough. We'll talk about it a little bit after. Rags and Bones. Here we go. That's fuzzy.
Rags and bones, are we finally alone? Rags and bones, are we finally alone?
That's a catchy groove right here. Drummer's getting down right there.
White man, you just starting to get the blues.
It's kind of a Talking Heads, David Byrne kind of
You just starting to get the blues.
and Adrian Belew.
The blues. The blues. Say it.
That's kind of like that 60s beat, but just heavier. That surf rock kind of groove.
Rags and bones, are we finally alone? Rags and bones, are we finally alone?
Guitar fill with it. Okay.
The beast has arisen. The beast has arisen. The beast has arisen. The beast. The beast has arisen. Sins are forgiven. 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 In the belly of the beast shall be.
I love this build-up.
Shall be released. In the belly of the beast shall be released. In the belly of the beast shall be released. She rises, Captain. She rises, Captain. She rises.
This is a big moment.
She rises, Captain. Captain. Die, die, Captain.
section is a great moment for creativeness on
If I
the
could
drums.
choose to believe or not to believe, you know I would choose not to, not to, not to. If I could choose to believe or not to believe, you know I would choose not to, not to. But I can't choose not to. No bloody way.
See, that's that aggressive 60s surf rock group.
Rise and rose, oh, we finally rose. 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 Any old rags and bones, any old rags and bones, any old rags and bones,
Why not?
any old rags and bones. Who would have thought? Any old rags and bones that I would be a sailor in the deep blue sea. Who would have thought that I would be a sailor in the deep blue sea? Any old rags and bones, any old rags and bones, any old rags and bones, any old rags and bones. Like this.
Yeah, see, I can see 100% why the band in this album came highly recommended. I can see why I have it sitting there on my wish list as an album to get to, because that was punk and filled out in satisfyingly ways in all the right places. It was unique. It retained that punk atmosphere and aggression, but it brought something new and different to the table. It kind of had a progressive in its own way kind of approach. It kind of reminded me in a similar lane, and I mean like a very, I'm not talking a one-to-one, kind of like Marquee Moon from Television. Like it's kind of taking an artsy kind of path with punk. The guitar line I thought was just frantic and wonderful to listen to. It's catchy in its own way. And while it doesn't sound literally like what I'm about to say, it kind of reminds me of the same way that Fripp would kind of perform the guitar. It kind of has like a staticky, concentrated focus kind of maneuvering that's very like mathematical in its approach. And I feel like a similar thing with the guitar here. The guitar being performed by Rob Wright or / Andy Kerr, because they're both credited with the guitar. Not sure exactly who's singing on this particular track, because all three of the members here are credited with vocals. Rob Wright, bass, guitar, and vocals. John Wright, drums, percussion, and vocals. And Andy Kerr, guitar, bass, and vocals. So couldn't tell you who is singing on this track, but I really like their singing as well. It really reminded me of like Adrian Belew and the way that he would sing. Kind of gave me a little bit of a David Byrne impression. And some of the more melodic moments reminded me of Roxy Music, Brian Ferry. Like I was getting a little shades of all that, but once again, it really did sound kind of just unique unto themselves. And I really liked that. I like that it sounded so different and yet so familiar, taking chances, progressing, and experimenting with things. Sometimes it doesn't work, but in a case like this, I think it works incredibly. And I'm very, very curious about the rest of this album and how it all stacks up, because this is right up my alley, and this is what I was kind of hoping from having this album like on my wish list. Like it was something different, something a lot of people suggested, and a lot of people said that this was a great one to check out. The drums were fantastic as well. I love that moment where the drummer, that's gonna be John Wright again, has the option to perform creatively in those fills amongst the that one part at the end of the chorus, where he gets 3 moments, 3 spaces specifically to really test out those fills. And the last one, he always brings a big roll, big, long, sweet roll in there. And it's always a great time listening to that. The music even goes through kind of different progressions and different moments when, you know, it kind of softens up. It kind of has a story-ish aspect, at least in some part. The section where it's, you know, the beast has arisen, all sins are forgiven. That back and forth chanting, I think, is really cool, and it builds up the song really nicely in that moment to a nice head, and then drops it right back in. I think that this was a really cool track to listen to. Happy for the introduction. Hunker down, y'all. Yeehaw. Well, Christ was married on the cross, my father was married to my mother, and I'm married to my cigarette butt. Listen, everyone has their place, everyone has their relationship, and he's married to the cigarette butt, lying in the gutter. That's too bad. Rags and bones, are we finally alone? Rags and bones, are we finally alone? White man, I like how this kind of changed a little bit as well. White man, you just starting to get the blues. Yeah, the blues. I said, white man, you just starting to get the blues. You're just starting to understand it a little bit. Just starting. Rags and bones will be finally alone. The beast has arisen. The beast has arisen. All sins are forgiven. In the belly of the beast I shall be released. She rises, captain. She rises, captain. Captain, dive, dive. So we get a few biblical references in here. This, I guess, would be like a revelation kind of thing. But this makes me think of like Jonah, like being inside of the fish or the whale or whatever it was. If I could choose to believe or not to believe, I would choose not to. Not to. Which he repeats again. Rags and bones, are we finally alone? Perhaps he's saying, like, am I finally alone with the barest of myself? The rags, the bones, the lowest of the low. Am I finally alone with myself? And in that loneliness, is he perhaps gaining a little bit of introspection? Who would have thought that I would be a sailor in the deep blue sea? Who would have thought I would be? I mean, that of course relates to the captain dive part. I don't think it's necessarily literally. I am thinking much more metaphorically. Let's see. Is there anything specific about this track? I do not see anything specific about here. I thought that this was really cool. It almost had, not necessarily like time signature changes and such, but it kind of had like a little bit of a math rock kind of sound to it as well. I would say especially because of the guitar and just the way that it was performed and the way that the track itself was kind of constructed. This was really, really good. And what year did this come out? 89. I like that. Thank you so much for the recommendation, Adam. Thank you so much for the sponsorship as well. Let me know what you guys thought of the track in the comments down below. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Swing on back by tomorrow and have a wonderful one out there. Bye, guys.